Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today's debate marks the beginning of an exciting journey, a path filled with passion, new experiences, and most of all, meaningful lessons for both teams. But today's debate is also a chance for us to see how our education system is starting to take real steps toward a brighter and a more promising future. Wars, economic crisis, or fast technological changes are all a part of the global challenges we face today. Yet, the backbone of a nation lies in its own educational system. This has driven the Moroccan government to establish pioneer schools within the country in order to enhance the quality of education in it. Our position is this simple, and I will let my teammates dig deep into this problematic while we analyze it together from a pedagogical dimension. Now first, pioneer schools by definition are public institutions. Are public institutions designed to put a high standard for education by focusing on modern teaching methods, academic excellence, and innovative curricula. This program is centered around three axes: the student, the teacher, and the school. But before you get to hear the achievements and benefits of pioneer schools in our country, let me tell you the real reason why we actually need pioneer schools in our country. According to the United Nations program, the HDI, and the educational components, Morocco is ranked in the 123rd position out of 191 countries. And not just that. Morocco ranks below average performance in the MENA region, which are the Middle East and North African countries. We lag behind countries like Algeria and Palestine, knowing exactly what is happening right now in Palestine when it comes to education. If you want to run faster, you have to run with people who are faster than you. This idea not only applies to pioneer school students, but to our entire education system. Pioneer schools set an example for both public and private education, and private schools, basically. Only few of them have accomplished what 60,285 of regular schools have been trying to achieve for almost a century. Ladies and gentlemen, pioneer schools lift up our education system. And I believe lifting up your education system or just your environment is one of the principles we must embrace as LARCI students. Thank you. Thank you.
Dear audience, dear opponents, honorable jury, good morning. I've made a checklist which includes every single point that the government team over here will be presenting to you today. Something along the lines of how the Pioneer School program brought so much positive change to the quality of education in Morocco, how it made teachers better formed and qualified, how it made the students' grades skyrocket. And the more the debate will progress, the more you'll realize that all this talk is just empty words fed by misinformation and empty promises that our government is not planning to keep. The Pioneer School program is not applied the way it should be, with teachers not having the proper formation to teach a certain subject, or how we can't even afford the proper equipment for this so-called better quality of teaching, even with sponsors backing us up. And the worst of them all is how these statistics that aim to show just how much students are improving are rigged and tweaked in a way to make it seem as if the students are getting better grades. When you are?
Yes. Thank you, please. You talked about how the government cannot afford these pioneer schools, yet it's already happening. Like, how would you explain that?
Yeah, it's already happening now, but in the future, when it's going to be generalized in all schools, we're not gonna be having enough funding for the other schools, so there will be disparities in allocation of the resources and money. As I was saying, and I'm not just saying all these words for bluff. This, as my team is here, will give proper explanations and will dive deeper into the subjects later. But aside from that, let's now go a little to past for a little history session. Obviously, Morocco didn't invent the concept of pioneer schools, but was rather inspired by other countries, especially France, where a shocker, I know, but also India. India launched the Pioneer School Initiative to improve the quality of education, but also bridge the gaps between public and private education. This has faced various challenges, such as limited funding, shortages of staff, and disparities in the allocation of resources. With many rural and economical disadvantaged regions not being able to reach the very high standards of these schools because of these resource disparities. A report from India's educational sector indicated that only about 25 of schools under similar experiential mental models achieved their intended outcomes, primarily due to funding and teaching training issues. In France, since they have more money, they're able to fund more schools, they're able to run the program more smoothly. But even with that advantage, they face the exact same challenges. As a review of government-supported innovation labs suggests that only about 45% of projects achieved measurable improvements in student outcomes or satisfaction. These countries that weren't even able to reach their satisfied outcomes, and yet we're still following behind their every step, blindly, instead of learning and improving from them. Robert Heinlein once said, "A generation which ignores the history has no past and no future." So, can you really defend a system that was doomed to fail from the very beginning, according to various experiences from the past? Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start this off by saying our opposition here said that we cannot afford these schools right now or in the far future. But I would just like to say, if we have so many schools now, then why on God's green earth would we not be able to afford them later on, as we have founded for them so greatly right now, and I believe we can found for them even better in the far future. Now, what our opponents here refuse to understand is that these pioneer schools are not just some new trend. They represent a necessary evolution in our educational system. These schools are tailored to meet the needs of our academically talented students, who by all means deserve all the opportunities they can get to thrive. I mean, just think about it with me for a second, okay? We already have so many specialized institutions for students who excel in sports, and nobody questions the legitimacy of creating a space where students who are academically inclined can have an environment where young athletes can focus their talent and develop their skills under expert guidance. So why is it that when we propose specialized institutions for students who are academically talented, we are faced with so much resistance and skepticism? Knowing very well that all these schools are trying to do is foster a deep love
deep and genuine love of learning within their students. And they have all means to do so. So why would we stop that?
POI? If you say that you're going to be faced with resentment, how do you explain the argument that pioneer schools will widen the gaps between students in rural and urban areas?
Can you clarify your POI a little bit more? Like, what do you mean by rural and rural areas?
In the countryside and inside cities.
Of course. So I need everyone to understand that gaps in our country are existent with or without pioneer schools, whether that be in financial situations or in our educational system. So pioneer schools are not what's gonna widen that gap, because there are a lot more bigger factors that can widen it. Now, as I was saying, of course.
If you agree that there is a gap between the rural and the citizen area, how do you think that pioneer schools would help get that gap shorter?
Pioneer schools are not made to fix the gaps in our society. Pioneer schools are made to improve and better today's society and better our students' futures. However, those gaps, rich people and poor people, exist in every other country. That's not something we can change. Now, as I was saying, these schools are designed to encourage critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving, skills that are not very prioritized in traditional schools. Now, pioneer schools provide specialized and high quality instructions in subjects like science or technology or perhaps literature, and that's exactly what helps students who are passionate about academics have the same opportunities as students who excel with the help of sports academies. Now, this
I just want to clarify that for Deputy Prime Minister, you mentioned that we said that we don't have the funding right now. That's not what we said. We said that we might not have the funding for after. Actually, it's already starting. In Eturir, they are already asking teachers in pioneer schools to work with phones rather than providing computers that they had given to other schools in the beginning of the initiative. And you said that improvement doesn't mean shortening the gap. That's exactly what improvement is. That's exactly what pioneer schools are all about. Imagine it's 7 p.m. on a Sunday. You have a project due tomorrow, and your phone is buzzing up with numerous messages from your teammates asking you to contribute a detailed section on your research. Overwhelmed by other tasks and your procrastination, you quickly put together a generic summary instead of the in-depth analysis they requested, just to get them off your back. This, dear audience, is exactly what Morocco is doing, implementing a system that will supposedly revolutionize our education, claiming that pioneer schools are the way, and that we can look ahead to a brighter future where we are no longer ranked 154 out of 195 in global education. Education is a human right for all throughout life, and that access must be matched by quality, says UNESCO. And fortunately, the government teams keeps reassuring us that we are headed in that direction. Dear audience,
POI. Yes. If you suggest that this system, our Morocco's current system, is so great and it is exactly what's going to help our country get better in almost everything, then why are we still struggling with the gaps that you stated will be fixed with pioneer schools?
I understand. I did not say that the current education system is perfect. I'm saying that the pioneer schools are not the improvement They don't provide the improvement that you think they do. Dear audience, you should worry about the quality of education no more in Morocco, because it's in great hands. The hands of pioneer schools, the same schools that are weirdly implemented through discrimination. According to the Ashkenazi article, the rollout of pioneer schools overlooks multi-grade classrooms by focusing on central units that exclude this teaching model. For context, multi-grade classrooms occur when a single teacher is responsible. Okay, accepted.
You keep talking about how our education is great right now and everything, yet the drop rate in Morocco is 5.3%. How would you explain the fact that pioneer schools are not helping us?
Okay, I'm going to repeat what I said. I did not say that the current education system is perfect. I'm saying that the pioneer schools do not provide the improvement that you think they do. That's all I said. For context, multi-grade classrooms occur when a single teacher is responsible for instructing students from different grade levels in the same classroom. This exclusion, therefore, deepens the divide between students in these schools and their peers, while also neglecting educational equality. Unfortunately, this was a blow in the face of many schools that not only want to get rid of this outdated teaching model, but to also benefit from new advanced training programs and new educational policies. Moreover, many of the promises that pioneer schools have made are yet to be achieved. For example, pioneer schools promise excellence when it comes to teacher training. However, dear audience, how can we expect quality education when this exact teacher training is ignored? One article indicates that English language teachers have been reportedly pressured into supporting other subjects without the necessary qualifications.
Please fasten your seatbelts as we're going through some turbulent zones. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable juries, worthy opponents, good morning. As we navigate this intellectual storm, I encourage you to take a moment to look out of the window of reason and observation. You might notice that some of our opponents seem to defend illogical claims today. How can someone refuse the idea of having pioneer schools in their country? Refusing this idea means automatically rejecting the opportunity of having a better future. Do you know what's very special about these schools? Is that they give teachers all the conditions needed to train. And they understand the critical role that well-trained teachers play in student success. And they invest significantly in their professional development. For instance, a study by the National Center for Education Statistics found that teachers or schools that prioritize teacher training see improved educational outcomes. And according to the report, schools that provided professional development had students who performed better on standardized tests compared to those that did not prioritize such training. The continuous learning opportunities help the Moroccan system and play an important role in enabling the Moroccan education system. To remain abreast of the latest teaching methods and technologies, which is truly exciting. For example, a survey conducted by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation revealed that 90% of teachers who participated in effective professional development reported that it positively impacted their teaching practices, which will automatically reflect positively, of course, on students' results. This is crucial in today's fast-paced educational environment where technology and teaching methods are constantly evolving. No one can deny that since the very dawn of education, teachers have been the foundation of every student's journey. From the earliest classrooms to the modern ones we know, they have shaped minds, nurtured dreams, and built the knowledge and the pillars of knowledge upon which our societies are standing today. I urge you to embrace the idea that investing in the training of teachers in pioneer schools are essential for the advancement of our Morocco's educational environment. Yes?
how do you address the potential issue of skilled teachers going to pioneer schools and leaving regular schools with not so good teachers?
Okay, so as I was saying, okay, can you please repeat?
What do you have to say about the fact that good teachers are now moving to pioneer schools and leaving non-pioneer schools with less?
Okay, I got you. So the pioneer schools were made in our country to bring the impossible to our country. So I don't think that this will be hard for them to equilibrate between the regular schools and pioneer schools. So as I was saying, from the earliest classroom to the modern ones we know today, they have shaped minds, nurtured dreams, and brought the knowledge of pillars upon which our societies are standing today. I urge you to embrace the idea that investing in the Moroccan educational system or in the training of teachers is essential for the advancement of our Morocco's educational system. Because when we equip our educators with the skills and knowledge they need, we empower them to inspire, to elevate their students. This investment will not only enhance the quality of education, but also foster a generation of learners who can contribute meaningfully to our society. So, dear audience, the presence of true pioneer schools, ones that actually support and invest in training teachers, is not only a blessing, it's a necessity we've been deprived of for far too long. Thank you.
Their audience, their jury. These pioneer schools that the government team is trying to defend today are just a fantasy. A fantasy our dear Minister of Education has always dreamed of accomplishing, and that would normally enhance the quality of education. But dreams are dreams, and I choose to look at reality right into the eyes. Unfortunately, we can't apply all these initiatives to all the schools in Morocco, knowing that their number is growing by 110 new schools each year, according to Statista. And the budget of education is already put into Morocco's debts. Adding up to that, the horrible conditions that the teachers teach in with very low income, which led in the 2023-2024 school years to the manifestations for their rights, which led a lot of students not go to school for months. And you expect our government to bring money, of course, from the citizens' pockets to expense a project in only few years and to magically solve all the problems that we've been facing for the last century, right? Look, I'm not against Morocco's development, and I would love to see my country grow. Yes.
You keep talking about how Morocco cannot afford these countries, and they take from the citizens' money, etc. But the government takes it again from the prisons. Why not in education?
Morocco has already put 24% of its budget in education, and we still don't see no results. So imagine more billions. So that's just more debts in debts. That would not fix the problem. I would love to see my country grow, and I don't deny the fact that education should be enhanced in Morocco. But this dream is just out of our reach, and will never make the whole country benefit from it, which may also lead to a big problem, the privatization of all schools. Dear government members, let's put ourselves in front of facts. I don't think you realize the astronomical cost of this project and the astronomical costs that is already put into Morocco's budget for education. According to the global economy, listen closely, 24% of our budget is already put into education. 72 billion dirhams is already stressed thin just to maintain the basics of education. And still, major problems that affects every classroom, every children, and every community. Knowing that this project is just more billion of dirhams for a project that has no assurance to occur and to help us. According to Hespress, numbers may grow to 4 billion dirhams just to form 5,000 teachers by 2026. And that's knowing that our lovely country...
Yes. 24% of Morocco's budget is spent on education, as you said. But we're not spending it right. And how do you explain all this wrongful spending then? Because it's clearly not developing our country. We've been going at the same rate for ages.
Okay. But still, pioneer schools won't fix the problem. We can find an alternative that will help us, and that my friend Loay will talk about later. And let's not forget that our country has already 1,118 billion dirhams of debts. Morocco is setting the bar way too high. Some students don't even have access to drinking water and live kilometers away from the nearest school with very weak infrastructure that logically pushes 50% of students from rural areas to drop out before finishing high school. I'm gonna sum things up. I live in a country with no consideration neither for teachers nor students, with social inequalities and which education system is hanging on the edge of a cliff, and with lots of debts and lots of money put into education and with absolutely no results. But the government team thinks the best way to solve this problem is to put more money, more billions of dirhams for a project that has no assurance to change anything. I think that this may work in your dreams. Thank you so much.
Honorable jury members, esteemed opponents, and distinguished audience. In a small village in the Moroccan countryside, my young cousin Hala has always been the pride of his family, known for his brilliant mind and steadfast commitment to learning. Hala excelled at his local public school, despite the challenges of outdated textbooks, a few crowded classrooms. His curiosity and talent often outpaced the resources available to him. Recently, the unimaginable happened. Hala received an offer to join LEDEX High School of Excellence, an institution renowned for nurturing the brightest minds and providing great opportunities. Aimed at bridging the gap between potential and opportunity for rural students like Hala. When Hala called us one evening, his voice brimmed with excitement as he exclaimed that LEDEX has everything. Modern science labs, inspiring teachers, and even clubs for robotics and debate. It's like a dream come true. His mother's pride was noticeable as she recounted how her son worked so hard to earn this opportunity. Hala's journey from a modest public school to the academic excellence is a testament to what programs like LEDEX initiative can achieve. It reminds us that investing in students with potential, regardless of their socioeconomic status, can not only change lives, but also fosters and strengthens economies. Pioneer schools creates a good environment for excellent teachers by providing advanced teaching methods, digital tools, and specialized curricula. These schools set new educational standards in Morocco. They create spaces of learning that inspire academic excellence, opening doors to success for students across the country. Pioneer schools equip students for the future Morocco's workforce. They emphasize STEAM subjects to build intimate skills that a modern society requires. They foster confidence and competency just like our own school hierarchy. Through advanced teaching methods and specialized curricula and even global education models, these schools ensure that graduates are ready for high-skilled careers that support Morocco's growth and global competitiveness. Finally, pioneer schools do more than just educate. They make learning enjoyable. And dear opponents, we want to invest in Morocco's future. We want it to change, and unlike you, we really want to invest in what matters the most. Thank you.
So, First of all, I don't know if you realize this, but you guys have been keeping recycling the same few weak arguments you have, and it's not working. And about the funding, the government is already telling teachers that their training sessions will be shorter in hours, and they will not be trained by professionals anymore. They will be just trained by other teachers. So clearly, we can't afford it. Aristotle once said, "The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet." Today, we face a bitter truth. Our students, fruits who were once so sweet, are now in danger of rotting because of a system that is not ready to save them. Dear audience, honorable jury, greetings. When I first read our debate topic, I turned to my mother, a teacher in a pioneer school, to get first-hand, accurate information. I asked her about the initiative, and yes, I totally saw her answer and made it my intervention. Imagine this: 2 6th-grade students, one in a pioneer school and the other one in a normal public school. In the pioneer school, the curriculum is intentionally easier designed to help struggling students. I mean, it sounds great, doesn't it? But here's the catch. The students who are doing well, they're not being challenged. They're not evolving. They're cruising, coasting, sitting to lessons that make them bored, lessons that don't make them think. Do you realize the damage this does? Their minds, their potential, their talents are being wasted. Now, on the other hand, the student in the normal public school, the curriculum is harder, more demanding. It helps them solve problems. It helps them think critically. They're not just enjoying a show. And when both of these students move to the 7th grade, they will be in the same class. And this is where the difference is clear and the reality hits hard. The student from the regular public school is now ahead. They're ready for the challenges. They're prepared to rise above. And the pioneer school student, they're behind. Their potential is wasted now. I mean, this is not right. This is not fair. This is not fair. Their potential is now wasted. The system that was supposed to help them, it failed them. According to Al Jazeera, a study showed that 6th-grade students are now studying fourth. Yes, accepted.
You said that pioneer schools are lacking behind, yet, according to Morocco's World News, in just 1 year, pioneer school students exceeded in their studies for around 82% more than students in regular schools. How would you explain that?
I already talked about it. I said that the standards are low, and that's why they're getting higher grades, and that's not fair to them. They need to get the education they deserve. A study showed that 6th-grade students are now studying 4th-grade level French and math lessons. And I mean, no wonder the statistics sound so good. They're not accurate. They lowered the standards. They lowered their expectations. They're setting these kids up for failure. They're not giving them the tools to succeed. They're giving them excuses to fall behind. And the worst part is the gap between these students only grows wider. By the time they reach higher grades, the pioneer school student is more and more lost. I mean, if we allow this, what will we sacrifice? What students, what children will fall behind? Not 1, not 2, but 5 million students, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, do you realize the damage this does? The results are now contradicting the initial goal of the initiative. This is not about equality, it's about failure. We need to rethink this approach before it's too late. Before it's too late to save them. The time to act is now. The time for bold, wise, right choices is now. Thank you.
Well, first, the standards are not less, actually, because, in fact, pioneer school students are actually more excellent than students from regular schools. You keep talking about debts, we can't afford it, we have no potential, 24% is put in education, but please, it's put in education in all wrong ways. It's time for us to put it where it matters most. It's time for us to put it in the real project and pioneer schools. Ladies and gentlemen, the choice is simple. Do you choose to go forward? Or do you remain to stay in a place that is no longer comfortable? The ball is all yours. You choose.
You're basing this excellency of Moroccan pioneer students based on those statistics. But we already talked about how those statistics are rigged and tweaked. Like my teammate said, how 6th grade students are being taught 4th grade programs in math and French, and that's why the statistics are so high. In Morocco, the Pioneer Initiative program raises a critical question. Is it really an innocent and genuine step towards academic excellence, or is it a political move for short-term wins? Historically, large-scale educational reforms in Morocco have coincided with shifts in political forms, prioritizing fast and visible results, aimed to appeal to voters and policymakers. The risk here is that while pioneer schools could show success, they lack the potential for long-term forming.
Isn't it odd how countries like Finland, Singapore, or even South Korea top highest global rankings in education, while Morocco struggles to reach the same level? Now, the key difference here is their investment in pioneer schools, and I believe just as much as you should that our students deserve the exact same opportunities to exceed in their studies as their students do. Because none of you have denied that the enhancement that pioneer schools have had on our education, and that is exactly what our topic is about. So please, for the sake of our students and our country's future, I, as well as my team, say that this step needs to be taken, and as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
It is clear by now, dear audience, that the pioneer school system is failing at delivering the improvements it promised. Unfortunately for some, it must be worse. According to the article, the Million School Bags Initiative, which was a way for 4 million low-income students to obtain basic school necessities, has been discontinued. It has been discontinued to support these pioneer schools. In other words, students who attend non-participating schools in this program will face discrimination and unequal opportunities that will inevitably hold them back from enhancing their education. Pioneer schools are not the revolution that has been promised. They are a quick fix that ignores the deep and systemic issues in our education. Morocco's youth deserve better than failing systems and hollow promises. Let's not settle for quick fixes, but rather demand lasting change. Thank you.
Pioneer schools are doing everything but failing. Think about the values pioneer schools offer to the educational system. Real opportunities, genuine progress, and the future where Morocco can take the lead on the world stage. The only way to achieve this is by enhancing the Moroccan educational system. By supporting the pioneer school projects, that prioritize students' interests, producing aware students who will drive Morocco toward progress. Don't forget that today's students will shape Morocco's future. It's time for us to see their best in order to lead like the United States and not to be leading. And investing in education means an investment in the country's future. Thank you.
I think that this project of pioneer schools is a huge failure for our country. First of all, when you simplify the program just for students to have better grades, I think that's the biggest failure we can do for our country, really. And I think that this will never enhance the quality of education in whole Morocco. And this will just create more gaps between students and between classes, social classes. I don't like inequalities, and I want my country to grow in a whole, as the whole education grows, not only some classes. Thank you so much.
Firstly, as an answer to our dear opposition whip, we do not roam around the truth. Unlike you, we present direct arguments that may seem to you like repetition, but we're going straight forward. Very dear audience, let us for a dull moment forget and turn a blind eye on the relentlessly senseless arguments we got to hear from the opposite house. Now shall we, ladies and gentlemen, seriously, what have we got left to lose? We've already lost too much. Our potential, brilliant students, and our brightest mind left the country in pursuit of desired environments abroad. It's time for us to stop the cycle and invest where it matters the most. Thank you.
First of all, I just want you to realize that we are acknowledging your arguments, but you're failing to do the same thing. Doesn't make sense. Ladies and gentlemen, as we end our debate, I want you all to think about the fact that the Pioneer School Initiative is robbing our education of its very soul. You, our teachers' voice, the one so vibrant teacher who used to put heart and soul into craft and lessons, is now confined to presentations, recitals, just scripts after script and slides after slide. And yes, that's what they call an initiative. What a downgrade. The art of teaching reduced to hollow, lifeless presentations. It's a slap in the face to every teacher who has spent years trying to master their craft. Students are now just numbers and teachers are shadows. And if it doesn't make us rethink everything, then maybe we are already lost. Please remember that it's easy to talk about change when you're not the one facing the consequences. Thank you.